What's up, everybody? Happy 2022. It's Vlad over here, and I'm finally back on Creative Smoothie. I know it's been over 8 months that I haven't posted anything over here, and this is exactly the reason why I'm making this little short episode of Creative Smoothie to kind of go over a few questions that you might have, you might not have, but I just wanted to address anyways. So I wanted to talk about where and what have I been doing, how the podcast is going to change because there's going to be a bunch of changes that we're going to implement. And we're going to talk a bit about who's going to be benefiting from this podcast, what you can learn from it, what formats to expect. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. I want to start with the first question, which is where have I been? Well, for the past few months, I've been involved in my immigration process here in the United States. As I'm currently waiting for my work permit, I've been just working on researching and gathering information about different things that I like. Basically, I've been getting curious about different things that I didn't have time to get curious about when I was working. So yes, I have been unemployed for basically since May when my work permit expired. I've not been able to work or bring in any sort of income, and I'm still waiting for my work permit as of today, which is January 7th, 2022. And because of that reason, I kind of decided to stop everything. I stopped my podcast. I was working on Fiverr a lot. Like I was having a pretty good operation over there as a copywriter. That had to stop for a while because, immigration law. And well, now I'm back. And while I was waiting and researching and getting more curious about things that I loved, I thought whenever I do come back and start this podcast again, because I wasn't going to let it go, I wanted to change it a little bit. It's called Creative Smoothie, and a smoothie isn't supposed to last an hour to two long, I was trying to get in some sort of content that would be shorter, faster, and to the point that you could actually use in your day-to-day life as a creative, as an entrepreneur, as a creativepreneur. And another thing is that this podcast was geared towards creatives mainly, but honestly, the people that I was talking to, if you go back and watch the first 4 episodes, they're all interviews with incredible people from the marketing and advertising industry. So it was kind of like I wanted to make it something, but it ended up being completely something else. So I'm going to keep on going towards that marketing, business, entrepreneurship journey kind of podcast. So if you're a creativepreneur, basically somebody who loves to create and make a business out of it, or if you're an entrepreneur or a creative person who just wants to make more money or, learn different tools that are going to be beneficial, then I think this is for you. And here I am jumping over the questions myself. Anyways, let's go to the second question. How is the podcast going to change? Well, in order to explain to you how the podcast is going to change, I also need to explain to you certain changes that I've done within my own life, my own lifestyle, and my professional career. So I've decided that I wanted to build my own business, and although I'm not able to right now because, again, I'm not able to work, I have been learning a lot about business and talking to a lot of people about business, people from business, people that own companies, people that own the marketing agencies for some big companies. And the number one thing that I've been seeing is that I really got more interested into marketing and higher up strategy rather than just, getting to the little things like copywriting. Don't get me wrong, I still love writing, I still love creating, but I really loved having that strategic view of a project. So I learned that, okay, let's learn a bit more about marketing. And once I started learning more about marketing, I realized quickly that there's a lot of spammy stuff out there, and there's no reason for that. Like the current marketing that we know, the traditional marketing sounds so spammy, so salesy that many people even hate hearing or associating themselves with the word marketing. They're like, no, I don't do that. And I'm like, okay, how are you going to sell stuff then? But because I noticed that, I decided something pretty important is that I'm going to preach the methodology of conscious marketing from now on. And I'm going to go deeper into what conscious marketing is throughout the episodes, but it's pretty much changing the perspective with which we approach spreading our message into the world, right? So instead of spreading the message to everybody, spreading our message with a conscious way, with a conscious strategy, so that we do not spam, but we rather present the opportunity that we have for other people to the correct people at the correct time. So that's what I've been working on thinking, developing, writing down stuff in my journal. And because of that, I wanted to start sharing these insights that I've been finding out with you guys. Hopefully you can apply them to your own business. I know there's a lot of people out there who absolutely hate selling themselves, and I don't think that's a reason that's good enough to stop you from selling your product. I don't think that you should listen to a lot of what the marketing people say out there, because and this is not I'm not saying this in a bad way, but it's all Americanized, all globalized, or all very mainstream, and so that's okay, that's fine. Some of those things work, but I like to approach stuff with a more of a connection rather than just, trying to sell something to somebody, right? And I've realized that also marketing has a lot to do with an exchange of value, which has a lot to do with business. And this is the way business and free markets run, right? You have something of value that you can exchange for something else of value that somebody else provides. And for me, this is very interesting. So I started also digging deeper into business and entrepreneurship and just working for yourself and organization skills, accounting, taxing. I just studied by myself online for free. And it's not like now I want to start sharing with you, because I'm no master. Like I said, I still haven't started my business or anything. I'm not trying to pretend like I am. I wanted to share my entrepreneurial journey with you. So whatever I'm learning every day, I want to share it with you. Not as a way to preach, but more so as a way to share my journey so far and where I'm going. And hopefully, in 1, 2, 3, 5, 7 years, we can have a lot of episodes to archive and to document the progression of the business. And what I'm trying to get to is, if you're probably starting out your own business right now as a creative, or as anything that you're, anything that involves selling something, I know that if you listen to this, I'm going to make many mistakes most likely, and you're going to be able to listen to those mistakes and fix them. Like I said, I'm not trying to preach. I'm trying to lead by example. So I'm going to be sharing a lot about conscious marketing, a lot about my business and entrepreneurial journey, and also a lot about my lifestyle and my routines, the way I work out, the way I eat, because I do believe that I'm a person that's lucky enough to do a lot of what I want, and that involves using a tremendous amount of energy that you need to build up. And I feel like a lot of people are very drained and burnt out for a good reason. They've been working hard, especially in the past 2 years when everything's been very hard. But I have a few tactics, techniques that I've been learning, and I've been lucky to learn from other people who are experts in this, and I'd love to bring them to you as well. And lastly, no, the interviews are not completely going away. So the interview format is going to stay. I'm not going to have it every week, but I promise you that at least once or twice, every 1-2 months, we're going to have a guest that is an expert and an authority in the industry of business, marketing, social media, sales, everything in that, even creativity, coaching, everything in that area is going to be covered. So make sure you're going to listen. The way this podcast is going to work, which is the third question, is I'm going to be posting on Mondays and Fridays, and it's going to be short episodes, right? If I see that the episodes get too short, I might add another day of posting. But I'm thinking for now, Mondays and Fridays is going to be perfect. It's going to make sure that I can post for many weeks, which is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to be very consistent. I'm trying to get this podcast, a few years, not only a few months. And every Monday and Friday, you're going to be able to enjoy your creative smoothie along with your smoothie after a workout, or with your coffee, or with your tea, or whatever it is that you want to have. So I don't want to make this too long. Thank you for bearing in with me. It's been tough of past few months, but tough in the best of ways, tough in the most challenging ways, which have created many new problem-solving skills in my arsenal. So I'm really thankful for everybody. I'm thankful for everybody that's going to listen and that's been listening to the podcast, and you're going to continue listening. Thank you for being a loyal subscriber. I am never going to place any ads in this kind of content. Firstly, I don't have enough views for now, but even when I will, I'm not going to advertise anything other than my own friends' stuff that I truly believe in. And because of that, I'm not going to be monetizing this podcast in a traditional way. Now, if you've heard of Andy Frisella, He's a podcaster, entrepreneur. He's just an overall beast. And I don't want to steal this from him, but he has a podcast called Real as Fuck. And in that podcast, he does the same thing. No advertising, no nothing. And there's a fee to the podcast. And the fee is that if you found anything insightful, anything funny, anything valuable, if you took anything from that podcast, he just asked you to share it with the world. And that's what I'm going to do as well. I don't ask you to pay me anything. I don't ask you to, give me your ads in exchange of money. I'm only asking you to share this podcast from now on if you find it useful at all. And go and listen to the last 4 episodes. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff out there if you haven't already. But just know that Creative Smoothie from here on is going to look a bit different. Guys, I'm excited. Happy 2022. I don't want to make this too long. I'll see you in the first episode, because this is more like an interim one. And peace. I'm really excited for this new year.